AAPL stock. This is Apple, the biggest stock ever in the history of the world, and it only has to hit 182.86 to reach the $3 trillion market cap milestone. And this is a longer view chart here. You can see like how Apple's been pretty much bulling around this second channel line forever, and we're right back at it, coiling and doing weird looking stuff. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, and smash the like button. And let's talk about Apple. This is a really cool stock. I'm going to zoom in on the hourly and go and look at, let's look at the technicals of this thing. First of all, this isn't great technicals, like a little double top setup isn't the best. But look how close, and it's overnight trading and then a tiny little tail stab. But it came to 182.28, and it had to get to 182.86 to hit the $3 trillion market cap, so it fell just like pennies short. But now we've got a double top, and the big deal is that Apple is the main stock that's floating and pulling the NASDAQ up, pulling the S&P up, especially the NASDAQ. It's like the one FANG stock that's like really still bulling. And we've had this wild kind of gamma squeeze with a ton of call options recently. And we'll see what happens now. But yeah, anyway, this doesn't look bullish to me. The double top thing looks like a little pullback on Apple. But let's take a look at the NASDAQ. While Apple is doing a tiny, tiny little pullback, the NASDAQ is, well, doing something pretty ugly. We have this flat topping thing that I like to call a whale, like a whale shelf, where the big guys say, like, this is where we are taking profit and turning these over to the general public, and we're out. And like it keeps running into this wall until it runs out of steam, and then you get a pullback. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 taps on mid-channel. And so we're just kind of in this area for now, but there's the potential to break through mid-channel at any point here, like right now, for instance. And obvious downside target is the bottom of the channel. We already have a downtrend line painted, and so it wouldn't surprise me to see us down here by like the end of next week, especially if Apple pulls back. So watching Apple is pretty important for the NASDAQ, and this is around just under 15 on the NASDAQ as a downside target, where you have a ton of bull and bear trend lines where you pick up a ton of support. Not financial advice, but let's look at the S&P, because the S&P has been looking really strong, and it still looks okay. But we have some downtrend lines semi-established on the S&P if it wanted to pull back. But it looks like the S&P is just holding strong, and other things are like deciding what's going to kind of rotate out and what's going to rotate in. But it actually looks like the NASDAQ is not going to do as strong as I thought. Like, it looked a lot better last week. So what is doing okay? Let's take a look at IWM. Let me go back to the daily chart so my lines actually line up. And yeah, so IWM, these are the small caps, and they are looking awful. Like, this is a bear shelf rejection into a new downside channel here. So I mean, we're opening up this entire space for the next move. That's much uglier than the NASDAQ. So like, the small stocks look terrifying, the big stocks look weak, and the general market still doesn't look too bad yet. So that's an interesting kind of look. I went over the entire Treasury and bond everything in my last video, but the Treasury bonds have not picked a direction yet, and they're kind of at a key point where they need to decide which way they're going. Although if you look at the Eurodollar futures, like the international bond market, it does look like it's rolling over, which would be an inflationary move in terms of like interest rates going up sometime soon, although that may not last very long. If you go farther back here, I think I need weeklies on this one to show. But if you look at 2008, you can see or even the last couple of times. The last couple of times the bond market has gone to a low interest rate area, like you can see it's like rolled over and it's immediately bounced back. Like this is the 2008 kind of thing where it hung around zero interest rates for a long time. But it rolled over, went back to zero, rolled over, went back to zero. And if you go back farther, you can see it rolled over and then went even farther negative, right? Or not negative, but lower. And so almost every time that we've come to sort of an interest rate bottom, we've done this. We've rolled over and then even gone lower. Actually, every time. And so I guess the little COVID poke is sort of a poke where we rolled over, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see if we just kind of roll over and then go right back to zero interest rates, which is what the TLT treasuries that I was just looking at are kind of indicating might happen. But if we just go like this, like that's back to zero interest rates, and I think that is actually the most likely, then that's a deflationary thing that nobody expects. If we start crossing this channel, that's the reflation trade, and you'll hit a wall right around here. And the interest rates aren't going to get that high. I think it's only going to be like 2.5% if it gets there. And then we'll hit a wall. So that's an important thing to look at. But yeah, if you go back to the treasuries, you can see, well, which way are we going? It's kind of hard to tell because we have sort of a longer downtrend, and it's not clear if we've broken it or not. Like, are we going this way? This would be higher interest rates and inflation. Or are we going this way? Lower interest rates and deflation. And I think that we're going to actually go lower, not higher. I think that we're just going to do a false little poke and then go lower, which is the opposite of almost everyone saying that, except probably Jeff Snyder. Let's look at the dollar. Still kind of bulling and jumping on top of level. I mean, the dollar is set up to go high. It looks like it wants to like bull. So that's an interesting move. That's a deflationary move as well. That would correspond with the Treasury move. Gold is considering a little breakout here. I might do some gold stocks. Yeah, one of my viewers, Dean, was just telling me that I should look at gold stocks because we should look at gold stocks. But I'm not going to get too far into that in this video. But gold is thinking about breaking out. And at the same time, Bitcoin is bear flagging. So let's get in on a tighter chart and look at this thing. This is interesting because Bitcoin's supposedly like the top risk asset and also the biggest inflation hedge. That's the story anyway. But what we have is a pretty technical bear flag right here on Bitcoin, and you can see you get the big stab through all the support levels here, and then pretty technical consolidation under over, and I would say this flag's maybe 75% chance to break to the downside based on the structure of it. It's pretty crispy, and we just rejected off the top of the channel. So if it does break and release to the downside, the target would be about this high, which would be this one from 57 to 47, something like that. So that would put us down at like 37 or something on Bitcoin as just a bear flag, like continuation target. Although we have some support here at 35 and some more at 30, those might be better targets than 37. But anyway, a bear flag breakdown on Bitcoin would be a big deal because that's a huge risk asset. We see Apple maybe turning over, see a lot of things kind of getting weak. And I'm not going to get into like a bunch of small kind of junky stocks that have no profit, but I think the two biggest risks right now are pretty much that. Like the little zombie company stocks that don't have any profits. Now if we get a monetary contraction, they're going to be in trouble. And then Bitcoin, we'll go watch my whole Satoshi Craig Wright playlist. There's a ton of stuff that nobody knows about going on with Bitcoin right now, like pending like legal actions and like fraud and crazy stuff that nobody understands. And I've covered a bunch of it in my playlist. Go check it out. And let's see if there's anything else cool to talk about on this video. But anyway, I've been saying, I guess if I just go back to the S&P, I've been saying it looks like we're just going to get kind of a little pullback now, and we might rotate out of some high risk things and then kind of rotate back into lower risk things and go back. Like, I don't think this is the top of the bubble. But even on the S&P, you can see kind of this flat topping pattern. That's a dangerous pattern. That often leads to a pullback, because when you get this flat topping pattern, that's the big guys turning all of this stuff over to the retail guys, and that's when the rug gets pulled. So yeah, we'll keep an update on this. For now, the S&P is not scary, but things are starting to look scary. So we'll keep an update here. Not financial advice. Please smash the like button, and I don't know. Let me go look at some momentum. Let me go to dailies. I want to check momentum on a couple of things and see what it looks like. All right, so yeah, so the S&P is still barely bullish, almost neutral on momentum on both MACD and the RSI. So let's see if this corresponds with what I've just said. Yeah, Nasdaq is neutral, but looks like it's trying to move bearish. That's pretty much the same as the technicals. IWM, yeah, is way bearish and moving farther bearish. That's exactly matches the technicals. So as far as momentum versus chart patterns, like they're lining up, everything that I was just saying is lining up. And what are the Treasury momentum? Yeah, right. Treasury momentum is bullish, in bullish territory, so it's trying to make an up move. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Treasuries are trying to make an up move. And if they do, that's going to push interest rates down, not up. The Fed just came out and they're like, we're going to raise interest rates if we have to raise interest rates or whatever. But this is saying no. Interest rates are trying to go down right now. And the Eurodollar future chart is actually telling the opposite story. But if this coils and goes, it seems to be a big lag. The Eurodollar market is a big lag behind like the TLT trading for whatever reason. But if this just falls and coils and pops back, like that's the same kind of thing. But this is bearish right now. Like this is a gap to the downside bearish. So Treasuries versus the Eurodollar market is a little tricky. Yeah, momentum here on the DXY is bullish in bull territory. So this is just bullish, like hop on top kind of bubble setup. So yeah, in any case, like yeah, everything that I just said in the technicals, the momentum is completely matching up. So that's yeah, a little confirmation on a couple of different indicators. The macro like theories are not good indicators, but it's like a good story to tell if it happens. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a bearish move on top of a bearish move in bear territory. So like Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin hasn't done a huge bear move, but it looks like it may do a big bear move here. But so yeah, you see how we did like a bearish rejection. We came into the bear area, did a bearish rejection. Now we're sort of testing the line right here to see what direction we want to go. But just in general on the MACD, like any wiggling and wobbling inside of this area, up or down, is all going to be lower lows, bearish stuff. So to get bullish, you got to get back on top up here. And so that's kind of the indicator to look at. But right now it's making bear moves, and we'll see if it makes another one. But the bear flag, like the momentum doesn't indicate a huge down move, but the bear flag does. So we'll see what we get. Yeah. And then we're doing Apple, right? So let's look at the momentum on that guy while I'm doing it. Bullish on top of bullish on top of bullish, and it's just sort of flipping. And so usually when you're this high bullish, like you're gonna do more higher highs. Like in order to get bearish, it has to literally go straight down across the zero line and get down here. So as far as momentum goes, this thing, I mean, that does happen, but not that often. I mean, like that kind of move happened right here, like flipped bearish here and came down. So, I mean, it's not crazy for that to happen, especially at resistance, but the momentum is not indicating that Apple's going to make a big down move at all. It's just at resistance, and it's just kind of turning over. So we'll see what it does. But if you look at the RSI here, it's in the bullish side, and when you get bear moves, you're basically going from the bullish side to the bearish side. Like that's where you get bear moves, and when you get bull breakouts, it's from the downside to the top half. So yeah, I mean this thing would have to flip, and this thing's got to come all the way down to the bear side for a bearish move. But I just thought it was pretty funny that Apple is just like pennies away from this momentous $3 trillion market cap, and it missed it by like a couple of pennies, and now it's considering like pulling back. But we'll see what happens with it. I mean, Apple has a pretty good chance of doing that soon, if not, very soon. But we might get a little pullback here with all the things that are setting up. So I think a small chill pill on Apple might be a good idea, and see how the rest of the market is playing out. But I have no interest in trading this Apple trade. Like, this thing's too crazy for me. But yeah, there's a couple other trades that I do have on, which I pointed out in the last couple of videos, but I could show those right now. And one of them is Mara. This is like my biggest short position that I've had on just for a couple of weeks, but once you hooked under here, it looked like a really good short entry because of all the Bitcoin risk that's coming in, and this is also a meme stock with a bunch of normal stock market risk. It's like all the types of risk all in one stock. So like if Bitcoin had a huge black swan thing, which I have black swan like videos that you can go look at, it's more than a little bit possible that we do get a Bitcoin black swan in the near future here. But yeah, anyway, this just looked like risk on top of risk, kind of, and the technicals are already setting up bearish, so that was a really easy short entry. And now a more risky short entry, but I mean, if we hooked under and rejected again, like if we came under this level and like went here, like that would be another good short entry. Right here is maybe, I don't know. But anyway, that's a big short position for all those reasons. I just threw a short on the BITO today because of this bear flag. And you can't see it on the BITO because it doesn't trade 24 hours. But on Bitcoin, you get very good on Bitcoin. On BTC, I don't know if we're going to be allowed to call it Bitcoin for that much longer. But on BTC, yeah, we have this bear flag, and it looks like it could break out now. So I just threw a short on there just in case. And what else do I have? Where is it? Nicola, I'll just type it in, which I pointed out in several videos. But in terms of like unprofitable, risky companies that could get in trouble, the setup on this one is pretty good because this thing came out as a SPAC, like right here at 950, and we've got this bear channel now. Like we broke the bullish structure, broke the last support. Now we're trying to go underneath the bear channel and underneath the entry price where it came on the market. And so like the downside here is just like, where does it even go? Like this thing has the potential to like teleport to the downside if it gets in trouble. So I think this is a cool short play on that sort of thing, like a super risky SPAC kind of zombie, that whole thing. But yeah, anyway, not investment advice as always, just like some ideas and ways to look up what you think's going on with the market. And so that's Apple. That's my Apple analysis. Happy trading.